makita nimo na siya sa outer part of the na siya, makita nimo sa actual pulbura nga all around. And cause also smoke. Ito siya mukos og smoke to protect also. Usual muna mo aso, kaya mag-welding. This is a different thing. As makita niyo na siya flux actually. Na siya flux. And then the arc stream, makita niyo deeper ang iyang penetration. Deeper siya slag after. It should be removed when this is the base. So, actually, class, kini mga discussions about the terms is not so important. But you need to be familiar with those. So, basa-basa ramani, but what is more important here is how to design. Calculate na nimo. How to calculate, how to do like this. In a consideration of shear stress or bending stress. Okay. So, because there are lots of, unlike way back on our previous chapter, so a lot of things that you need to consider. Parameters. So, gas metal arc welding. So this is another process of welding also, which is G-mount. Okay. So in this process, the electrode is a continuous wire that is fed from a coil. Okay, to the electrode holder. So the shielding is entirely from an applied gas or mixture. The process using and low sa nga type which are usually used in and bridges. So here, wag buhat gamit na process. Wag kita. The building. I shall see. There is na makita ko weld wala man. So that's why in abroad. Totally kana. Lisod bang pud gihapon ang welding. So di man siya sayon. Lisod. Okay, the JOJO process, as is using CO2 shielding is good for the lower carbon and low alloy steel, in which these are commonly used in what? Building and bridging. Okay, so we have 4.2. This is another process, flux cord arc welding or FCO. Okay. This process is similar to, this is similar, almost same with GMO, except that the continuously feed filler metal electrode is tubular and contains the flux material within its. So ipakita natin ang figure. Asa ang figure ani? Wala dito yung figure. Okay. Except, asa to? Flux material within its core. So, it's tubular and contains the flux material within its core. The core material provides the same function as does the coating is in small or granular flux in sound. So this procedure for field welding is in severe cold weather condition as well as speed up the high-rise construction. So actually I haven't experienced this using this flux cord arc, but this is to expedite as defined. This is to expedite the completion of the project. So, because you can use this one. You can use this one even to the extreme high cold weather conditions. So, totally based on my experience, the weather may certain degree or what's you need to calculate. And if they found na siya ikuan kanang weather forecast, so that day no wind, always this day or every week no welding shall be done. So it really happens. It's actual construction process. So what are the advantages of welding? Anong welding? Unsa man yung advantages? Okay, in welding, in welded construction in general, fewer pieces are used. What do you think? Do you agree? Okay, in comparative or in comparison with riveted or bolted connection. Mong i-visualize good. Is it true? You need to think actual. Is it true? Yes. Fewer pieces. Why? Connect ni mo dito ra good end to end. While kung mukuan kag mogamit kag bolted riveted, splice ka. Diba? Right. wala sila, absent sila. Tanan. Class, can you hear me?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, kadungog day sila. I thought, okay, so that is one of the advantages, the savings of the material. Especially, gamitin mo kolong, gamitin mo dagkong structure, mahal kayo ang steel class. So, in general, fewer pipes or pieces are used. This will speed up the detailing and fabrication process. Shortcut man. Pila mo kaya taas kayo. Sumpay-sumpay na cut the class. Wala na kayong nauna, mga splicing or whatsoever. Wala na. Join trama ka dito. So fewer pieces, and also there is a reduced time period. By what? During fabrication. Cut or whatsoever. Pag-join. So kung magamit kag volted or rig, daggan man po mo. Cut ka. Okay. Splice. There. So kung for example, length mong kinahanglan, di naikida o sa one piece. And that's the final size. And you're going to join it. Welding. Okay. That's the first advantage of welding. The second, welded connections. Gasset and splice plate may be eliminated. Okay. Pero sa bolt pod, wala man pod. Naman po'y wala. Napoy mo. Okay. Bolts or rivets are not needed either. The total weight of the welded steel structure is somewhat less than of the corresponding bolted structure. And that is critical. Weightage man ang atong gi-consider, load man or weight of the ang atong considerations sa design. Mainly mao gid na kung pilay load sa weight plus dead load good plus live load. So kato kung mas gamay ang imong gamiton, small ang imuhang. So if we talk about the column steel structure, gamay imong one load, di mas gamay imong size sa column. Nya kay welded, mas gamay man siya material magamit. So, economical, more economic ang welding. Okay, so then third part is the advantages of welding. Connecting unusual such as pipes is easier by welding than by bolting. So if you imagine, asa ka gako ay pag-una-una itong mga pipe na may mga pipe wala man ay welding wa dagay mo kayo ka observe. But if you are, I think, kita mo mga dagkong pipe, I think nobody, I would say, wala. You try to figure out saan mas dali mapag-join sa pipe. Either bolted or welded. Para sa ako, based on what I have seen and observed, actual. More or less same. But ang study niya, theory proves that pag-connect, much easier ang welding. But it's actually, for me, it's actually almost the same. Why? This process, you need to support. Instruction, magbutang mag-support. Align, para mabutang nimo. Same. When you do welding, you need to align first and do the welding. Maura siya, but easy. It has been proven that easier by welding than by bolting. Okay, so we have also welding by slowly read joints. Excuse me. Or battery toy na punta. Excuse for a while. That's tuting dia, tuting. Tuting. Are you there?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Sa kay Jukan ba nagbakuna tanan nga tao diya?
Wala pa, sir. Kato pa mga senior.
Okay. Senior. Okay, thank you. So, what about others? Anyone nabakunahan na? Wala. Oh, you're from?
From Mindanao, Sindangan.
The government is working faster. How is that possible? One of the member is frontliner or what?
Sir, kanang SK chair, SK counselor.
So you're in priority?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's great. So even me, I already many post for vaccination in any place. I register maybe 1,000, more than 20 registered. No. So I don't know when will be the schedule. To think when will be the schedule for everyone? No schedule? Wala?
Wala ko idea.
Wala
wait.
ka idea. Okay, maybe no one is interested because you hear something. Negative feedback telling about this. Atakabalo, nobody knows.
Yeah, sir.
That's good. We need to pray. If ever the government wants you to have the vaccination, do you have any do you insist on that? Do you want to be vaccinated or what? Anyone? Ganahan ra mo or or di mo ganahan?
Ganahan ra, sir.
Bakuna. Anyway, and you really analyze. So let's talk about this beyond. This is out of the topic. Kanang kabay COVID. Review man siya tambal class. Why is it? You try to answer the whatsoever scientists or whatsoever the one that is generating something. Why? Ano gipriority ang bakuna? And wala po sila ni come up in parallel kung unsa. I don't even understand. So okay nang we need to prevent. So bakuna. Sila gibuhat nga napaputagwan nga tambalan, manay tambal. So we don't know. Maybe banahan na ta para patakabalo of the population of the world. So we need to reduce. Sometimes after some years, it's not patakabalo. Really at the right moment nga mamatay ka. We don't know. Once you will be bakunahan ka, your wrong will be reduced to 20 years. Targeted man na. Siguro at kabalo. The only knows. Anyway, matter magyapon tatanan, right? So, kabalo, and let's pray. So, one possible drawback of welding is the needed is the need for careful execution. Careful execution lang kayo. It's really important. So as I explained, I remember, as far as I could remember na, based on experience, really critical in the parts of execution. So it matters on the wielder's capability, the environmental factor. So kailangan, not just anyone can do the wielding process. Talented and specialized, we call them as that. So, and supervision, not just knowledgeable na kay welder, which is qualified. Ang katong mga technical kinahanglan, di man nasa swito ka nga talent niya, welder siya, kabalo siya motibo. Ya, kinahanglan kay kabalo mo ba sa welding procedure katong supervisor. So, ang supervisor, mo to siya mag-guide sa welder. Okay na lang, kung wala, magyapon, useless. Okay, so for this reason, welding is sometimes done in the shop and bolting in the field. So, but it's really difficult class. Welding to be done inside or to be done on shop. The same procedure. So if you're doing a welding on shop, you need to have the approval in standard, national standard, whatsoever. You need to have the approval of your fabrication. Welding shop, kinahanglan approval. Field welding shop, kinahanglan approval. So same way, but less requirements as the shop because it is temporary man na. Project-based naman na siya. Less ang requirements. While kung shop ang imong pa-aprobahan, daghan ang requirements. Permanent man na. Clients will go there. Permanent lifetime man na. So kung business na siya, kung mag-analyze ka, business. So income generated man na. Unlike atong kag-shop, imong welding shop, a project, so which is beneficial only for that project. After the project completed, you're going to demodelize all of that. So less than requirements. So, but to have the overview, that is really happening. Kinangla standard man na. Here only, I don't know. Here only, wala yan. Or basta kaya na shop diha ga-welding sila. So, like that. Same as storage material. Plus, I will tell you straight kanang about big factor of the implementation of the quality management system and the achievement of what? Good project quality. Storage. We don't care about storage. We don't. Asar ni mo butang material, nobody. Nobody even think about it. Kasi deliver itong material ito, kakabalog asa. So, munang totally, it's really totally different ang implementation sa trabaho in systematic when really applying the total standards. So, storage is the number one yun ang issue. And you're in abroad, number one ang issue. So, and you know, if you're reading, all of the paint should be stored with air condition. Mo kabalo nga. Palit kinto. Sa asa, gaya tayo aircos balay. Aircon pa nato ng kuan. Ibutas refrigerator. Air condition na. You will spend a lot of money also for storage and preservation of materials. Big class. So, based on my experience, kinahanglan na gyud kada kung storage yard, it will be approved also. Storage yard, systematic with name tagging. Grabe. So here only we care about the material. So it's really it affects big factor that affects the output of the usage of the material. Okay. In other words, shop welding is complemented by the bolting in the field. Okay. So combination actually. Okay. Forms of welded joints. So forms of welded joints, lap joints. So lap siya. Lap meaning nag-overlap. And singles siya. Single Philly lap joints. So single siya kay diri raman mo imong gi-welding. I-welding dira madouble. Okay, so muna siya double Philly welds. So makita niyo yung diferensya. Then we have butt welds. Yan, mga forma. Oh. Butt welds. So makita niyo duha ka buok material. Diretso rin mag-joint. Then kay i-welding nimo. Both through na siya, penetration both sides. Okay, then we have single V-groove welds. So muna V shape. Kita mo, ang imong structure, steel structure. That name going to be shaped, and you're going to feel that one with the electrode. Tirahan mo pag welding. Tama may tabo. Okay. So we have double V groove weld. So both sides, timong gikuan siya into half gaman mong V, and then connect using the electrode. Then we have single U groove joint. So siya marag U-shape forma, no? A single U, and this is a single U. Single ra siya. And we have T joint. Kung T-joint, so ang imuhang kuan, actually ang imong ginabuhat is you have the material form like a T. So you join nimo, makita nimo T-joint, and then you have also single bevel groove joints. So kani gatruan po gihapon ang imuhang kuan ani welding joints. So then you have double bevel groove joints. So murag na siya'y gitira spikas kilid, itira po siya spikas kilid. Like that's one single ra siya, dire ra siya gidiretsa pero tro gihapon siya. Okay, so type of wheels. The two common types of wheels. So lahi itong process. There are 4 processes. Process mo itong i-discuss na ito ganiha niya. Kanay type of wheels din siya. The two common types of wheels in welded steel structures are groove wheels and Philly wheels. Ang yun na madungog na to always, Philly wheels man. So Philly wheels are much more popular. Mao gina siya yung Philly wheels. Wapita ka dungog og welding, forget about it. Basta kay kadungog tag welding pot ang metal, human na. Okay. It's structural steel designed and groove wheels. So really this is really proven. Philly wheels good. Groove of wheels. Okay. 2 different types of groove wheels are shown. Anong groove of wheels man is it? Groove wheels na siya actually. 2 different types of groove wheels shown in the figure. So mo na siya class groove. So the word nga gam-an mo groove. Diba? Word groove. Dito siya i-join. Okay. So 2 different types of groove wheels are shown in figure 3.3. They are the partial penetration, which is single V. Partial siya. Ang penetration niyo, di mo laban true and true. About the just entire ang kani, full penetration, which is true and true good from the other side to the other side. Okay, double V siya, groove weld. Groove weld is used when the pieces to be connected can be lined up in the same plane with small tolerances. Same level. So duha ka mati on the same level. Makabuhat ka ning groove welds. Pero kung ilap ni mo, hindi na groove welds. Nahin na po siya. Okay. Groove welds can be used when the pieces connected can be lined up in the same plane with small tolerances. At may nga tolerance. Just here, it's not happening. Tolerance na to, dagko kayo mga kuhan. Bangag pamanggani ang tiras welding. So, because of the workmanship. Big factor po ng workmanship and the ability to weld. Okay, so we have table 3-2, allowable stresses on welds. So nakakadire type of weld in stress. So we have tension normal to effective area, compression normal to effective area, tension and compression parallel to the weld shear on the area. So complete penetration na dyan, under complete penetration groove weld. So mao ni siya, same as the base metal, same as the base metal ang imong allowable stress. Kung pila ang stress sa base metal, same ra pod ang imong allowable stress. Be familiar about the table class, basa-basa ra mo. Kani siya sa partial na siya penetration, half ra siya, ha? So partial penetration of groove welds. Okay. Dito na ko basahon na tanan. So then we have Philly welds. So shear and effective area, you have 0.3 times nominal tensile strength of the metal, weld metal, except shear surface metal shall not exceed 0.4 times the yield strength of the base metal. So sa Philly weld. So you have also, then we have plug and slot welds. So shear parallel to the, okay, faying surfaces or effective area. You have certain calculations there. And you have the notes here for definition of effective area C. So class kami class before, we photocopied the entire National Structural Code of the Philippines. It's mandatory. So before you have the still design, kinahanglan na mo i-copy na class. I think you can have, it's downloadable. I think you search National Structural Code of the Philippines. Download mo na class. Importante kayo na. Kaya kaning mga sometimes in the discussion, refer to section kida, parang 4 point something, makita na sa national structure. It's based on the National Structural Code of the Philippines. So, download mo class, ha? Guys, ay download yung mga walay pulos. Bula mo.
15 gamit, sir.
Latest, kung namin latest, search mo, latest. Ha?
Okay.
Kung saan may latest ron? Even mine, ako ang National Structural Code, unsa na mo dagay? 2015 dagay? Oh. Wala na po gani ko ka-update actually, but I will try to search also if I have the soft copy. Kung na ako, I will share to you, to all of the class. Kay hard copy mo gud sa una, ako na ako hard copy na magani pa diri. Okay, if I have the soft copy, I'll try to search. If not, you can go through the internet. Kita nyo, and it's free actually. Free na. You can download. Okay. So 4.5.2. So this is all about Philly welds. So group welds man to. So Philly welds are shown in the figure. So ingananin siya ang Philly welds. So makita nimo figure, ingananin siya to kakuan. Kung this is in the actual, so is the welder capable of doing like this distribution? So dili. Ang bangang even surface. At sa gawas class, makita nimo sus gali haltarong remove gani mo sa slug. Grabe. So depending on the direction of the applied load. So Philly welds are shown in figure 3-4, depending on the direction of the applied load. So it depends upon the direction of the applied load and the line of the Philly weld. Philly welds are classified as longitudinal. So kano siya longitudinal or transverse Philly weld. So kani transverse ni siya? Transverse because of ang imong consideration dyan, tanawon nimo, kung tanawon nimo welding paros raman siya. What makes it different? It's because of the applied load. Kung asa ang applied load, kung ma-perpendicular siya sa imong weld, transverse siya, longitudinal siya because it's along the weld direction. So yun sa pag welding. Okay. In longitudinal Philly weld, the shear force to be transferred, okay, longitudinal. The shear force to be transferred as parallel to the weld line. So parallel siya, parehos sa direction sa weld line. In transverse Philly weld, the force to be transmitted is perpendicular, as explained, to the weld line. So perpendicular siya. perpendicular. Okay, more na siya. So, familiarization about the transverse and longitudinal. So, Philly wheels. So, Philly wheels can either equal leg or unequal leg as shown in figure 3.5. So, kini. So, this is equal leg. Kung makita ninyo, why is it equal ang leg? Pareho siya og sizes. So, makita ninyo, kung mugama ka sa imong distribution, gamaan imong right angle. So, equal ang base ug ang iyang opposite ug ang adjacent is equal. So, pareho siya. Equal leg. Naapoy, dili equal. Makuan pa ba na nimo? Okay. So, if you're going to figure out in the actual kan kuan pa ba na Wilder nga equal leg ang distribution or not. So, but you can calculate. You can measure the output actually of the welder. So, pwede man imong makalculate. Okay. The intersection point of the original phases of the steel ends being connected is called the root of the weld. Okay. Intersection, which is kung gaporma imong weld, imong i-project ni siya nga endpoint o katong beginning point, katong intersection dito nga mo to siya root actually, or for me it's the point of murag origin siya. Okay. The surface of the weld should have the slight convexity. In computation of the strength of the weld, however, this convexity is not taken into account on the theoretical, flat surface is used. The normal distance from the root to the theoretical phases of the weld is called the root of the weld. Okay. So, ang distance naman kay ko ano, kanang theoretical niya ang phase sa by theory calculation, project mo na theory gani, i-project ni mga straight line, pero ang application nimo sa actual ang phase niya the curve siya. Okay, so ang base sa the normal distance from the root to the theoretical phase of when you analyze, so distance paingon dito sa root is what we call the truth. So kani siya class gikan dire, okay, gikan dire paingon dire, this is the truth siya, theoretical phase going to the root in the projection of the being of the wheel, the point i-project nimo og asa sila mag-abot, the point of intersection is what we call the root. Okay. So unequal leg meaning the adjacent and the opposite is not the same. So both either asay mas dako, asay mas gamay. So unequal leg. Okay, experiments performed in Philly welds indicate that they are weaker in shear. Experiments formed on Philly welds indicate that they are in shear. Shear, we know that already shear. So sa shear siya, weaker ang Philly welds than in tension and compression. Why is it? Weaker ang shear niya in tension and compression. Huh? Also, equal leg Philly welds fail in shear through the truth. Also, kuno equal leg mo fail po siya. Welds fail in shear. So hinay gud sila. Hinay ang Philly welds, hinay gud siya in terms of shear consideration. Okay. Actually, when you use the equal leg, mo fail po siya sa shear. Okay. Through the truth, the angles at angles of about 45 degrees with the legs of the wheel. So kung may yung equal leg, so 45 distribution, the degrees of the leg of the wheel. The equal leg Philly welds, the relationship between the dimensions of the leg W and the truth is, so formula, truth is equals to 0.707 of the W. For an equal leg fillet, the truth T is unequal. T is equals to WH all over, okay, the square root, actually, square root of W squared plus H squared. Okay. Asa na to kung figure ni. The shear stress is controlling factor in the design of the fillet wheels. In the customary calculated. So these are the some formulas that we can use. But same as the bolted connections, not a portion dito nga sequential na kung saan mo considering bending and shearing. Modong na 2 points. Tapos sa last portion, analysis in the design of welded connections. So, sequential na pod, pasunod kung unsaon siya pag-solve, actually. So, the shear stress, the controlling factor in the design of the fillet wheels, is customarily calculated by the force P acting on the wheel by the effective truth area of the wheel. Okay. The effective truth area is computed by multiplying the truth thickness by the length of the fillet weld. This method is finding average shear stress is used by longitudinal and transverse fillet welds. Okay. Let's have the effective area of fillet welds. So the effective of groove welds, this is actually not groove. This is wrong. Effective area of fillet welds shall be based on the following. So the effective area of fillet welds shall be taken as the effective length times the effective truth. Yes. Okay? Effective fillet welds is taken as the effective length times the effective truth thickness. The effective length of the fillet welds, except fillet welds in holes or slots, shall be, so you will appreciate this one when we will have the example, actually. Okay, the effective length of the fillet welds on holes and slots shall be the overall length of the full-size fillet, including returns. Okay, the effective truth thickness of the fillet welds shall be the shortest distance from the root of the joint to of the diagrammatic weld, except that for the fillet welds made by the submerged arc process. The effective truth thickness shall be taken equal to the leg size for 10 mm and smaller filler welds, and equal to the typical truth plus 3 mm for fillet welds larger than 10 mm. So, makita ni mga class, dagang kayong condition in the calculations of the effective area. So, mo to ganing ang nahitabo, katong sa, as far as I could remember, ang nahitabo atong previous topic, which is about bolted and riveted connections. Something what jud na kay naklaro is about katong mga calculations about the nominal diameter diameter. So kato siya naagid siya ato kay daghan ng mga ito siya kung there are katong parameters. Now, kinala magbasa ka itong National Structural Code of NSCP. Daghan magud kay didto. So it happens. I think a lot of queries. So one student send me this, sir, why is it this one? So even we come up on the other sections, I think. Yeah, as far as I could remember, one section. So I could consider, so we use directly, I think, maglaylahi the answer. But I will manage to check that. So for fillet weld holes and slots, the effective length shall be the length of the center line of welds along the center of the plane through the truth. So katong figure kanina, so makita niyo the fillet weld in the hole and slots, the effective length shall be the length of the center line of the weld. Center line of the weld, along the center of the plane through truth. Paingon sa truth. So, maba siya sa center sa weld. In the case of overlapping fillet, the effective area shall not exceed the nominal cross-sectional area. So, another also parameters of the whole slot in the plane of the flying surface. So, as I mentioned, we will discuss more when it comes to example na para makita na to the application of this. So, the minimum size of the wheels will be, okay, napot ang mga minimum size. Actually, class, at the last part of this discussion, napo dito ang mga properties of wheels. Makita niyo dito mga section na nadaan, na nakay mga formulas sa section modulus, na nakay mga centroid as allocation sa centroid. Ready na. Kato sa nag-memorize na mo, karon open notes. So, makita ninyo class, so actually the last portion, ito siya, akong slide 3. Okay na yun. So, mo na siya, class. Makita niyo table. Ipakita, ihatag na siya wheel configurations. Centroid of the locations. Ready? Section modulus, polar moment of inertia. Magamit mo na siya in the calculations. And it's being discussed on this portion already. The analysis of okay. So, maabot natin niya and then okay, on this one, connection with shear and bending stress. Okay. Paghan mo yung mga chichiburichi, ito yung istorya ng itong voltage connections. Kapoy. Okay. So, asan na ta? Effective area. Okay, let's have this one. 1 minute class. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Ay, ako. Okay. Asan nandito ba? We finish this one. Okay. So, we have the minimum size of daily whales. Okay, limitations of daily whales. So there is also a limitation. The minimum size of whales shall be as shown in table 3.3. So this is also, you can see in the National Structural Code. The minimum wheel size is dependent upon the thicker of the parts joined. So what does it mean? So it depends. Kung sa gidakon, ang gidak metal ang imong i-join. So dependent on the two materials that you're going to wield. Except that the wield size need not exceed the thickness of the inner part. thickness ha. Mag-imagine ka. Usually kita kagkuan nipis bi kayo. So nya dili pag yun mo ana. So, try to imagine. Sa kanipis ang welding nimo kung wala may tabo makita ka welding o welding kag na mag-weld mga handrail. Nipis o dagko kay mong kuan burot-burot pa. But na koy may mo weld in terms ka na mo weld kag nga aluminum. May pong welding ba. Except the size of the weld need not to exceed the thickness of the thinner part. Kinahanglan di siya mo exceed thickness. So thickness, I don't think about the width or length of the material. Thickness sa material. Kinahanglan dili po siya mo exceed. So meaning if you really try to imagine unsa ka nipis po ang imong welding kung nipis ang material. For this exception, particular care shall be taken to provide sufficient preheat for the soundness of the weld. Okay na lang ka to, talented ni kayo mo na mo usually kanang nipis kayo nga material class if you observe kung kanang welder, kita ninyo bangag-bangag imong kuan. Kaya tingala ka oy puno ig bangag-bangag ni. Sabi ko na init kay na nipis kay imong material imong gi-join. Bangag. Kadi pa kay kabalo ang welder, punog bangag. Para mo walang bangag banat o tira para mabulit yan. Mo na to lain na kain tanawon. Magburutot naman to. Buliton to niya using the electrode. Yan lang nagi talent ang welder. Welds are larger than the thinner part joint are permitted if. So kani nasa na to? Weld sizes larger than the thinner part joint are permitted if required by the calculated strength. So napoy provision. Dili ko siya not exceed. Naman, it's allowed man. It's in the code. Now, it's mentioned the wheel size is larger than the thinner part joint are permitted if required by the calculated strength. So, in the basis of the calculated strength, required man na kinahanglan makamubaga. So, wala kayo choice. No option. What you have to do. Okay. So, in the as welded condition, the distance between the edge of the base metal and the two of the weld may be less than 1.6 millimeter provided the weld sizes is clearly verifiable. So I will repeat. Ang iyang welded condition, the distance between the edge of the base metal. Kung muna imong metal base, ang pinaka-edge ana metal kinahanglan base metal and the two of the weld. Two of the weld. Kumoy sa weld. Paingon sa edge of the base metal, kinalang na siya distance should not maybe less than 1.6 millimeter provided the weld size is clearly verifiable. Okay. Verifiable meaning kaya ni mo i-verify. Visible. No, makita mo dyan welding. Okay. So this is the table 3.3 minimum sizes of Philly weld. So makita nimo. So material thickness of the thicker part joint kung ang kuha niya is 6 millimeter inclusive ang iyang material thickness, the minimum size of the Philly weld is 3 millimeter. Okay. 3 millimeter ang minimum. So in the condition shouldn't exceed in the thickness. Thickness niya is 6 mm, should not exceed, but if required on the design. The design, dako mo yung kinahanglan. Kailangan paburuto nimo, padakaan nimo, pwede siya mulakaw og 6 mm. Over 6 mm to 12, kinahanglan ang minimum size. Minimum gani, so pwede pa ka ma-increase. Minimum ba na siya? Meaning, it's not allowed to go beyond that one. Beyond or below that value. Meaning, kung 4 naka 4 mm, it's not allowed. So, over 12 to 20, kinahanglan ka 6. Over 20, kinahanglan ka 8. Okay, so the maximum size of Philly welds that is permitted along the edges of the connected part shall be ang iha kunong maximum size sa Philly weld. Sa imong weld nimo. Okay, that is permitted along the edges of connected parts. Edge sa nga gi-connect nga part. So, asa ang edges niya. Okay, sa gi-connect ni nga part. Ang imuhong kuan ana, material less than 6 mm thick, not greater than the thickness of the material. So, kinahanglan na kung ang thickness sa material 6 mm, kinahanglan dili siya mo mas dako sa 6 mm. Material 6 mm or more in thickness, not greater than the thickness of the material minus. Nasaan pa nimo? Not greater than 6. Kung pila man ang material thickness, dili mo lapaw sa 6, ha? Minusa nimo 1.6 mm. Unless the weld is specifically designated on the drawing to be built out to obtain full through thickness. Ang drawing sometimes, butangan man dito. So you respect the drawing. Okay? Gi-calculate naman to nila daan. So you will not apply this one. Whatever the thickness, minusa nimo 1.6. Okay, so daghan kayo. So in design daghan kay kag parameters, they unlike other kung dili siya na solve the done formula. Kanidagang kay kag you need to parameters that you need to satisfy. The minimum effective length of fillet welds designated on the basis of the strength shall not be less than 4 times the nominal size. Yeah, minimum effective length of the fillet welds. Fillet length niya, minimum designated on the basis of strength shall not be less than 4 times the nominal size. Ano may size? Nominal size na sa imong kuan. Or else the size of the weld shall be considered not to exceed 1/4 of the effective length. Sira kag calculate may effective length 1/4. So dagang kang guidelines. Makabungog. So if longitudinal fillet welds are used alone in the end connection of the flat bar tension member, the length of each fillet weld shall not be less than the perpendicular distance between them. O yan, The transverse spacing of the longitudinal fillet welds used in the connection to tension members shall not exceed 200 mm, unless the member is designed on the basis of the effective net area. Kato na siya mga condition ni klase nga sa condition na siya sa fillet welds. Okay. Then intermittent fillet welds are permitted to transfer calculated stress across the joint of paying surface when required is less than the developed by the continuous fillet weld of this permitted size. Okay, and to join the components of weld up members, the effective length of any segment of the intermittent fillet welding shall not be less than 4 times the weld size with the minimum of 38. Di pa siya less than, siya bumubo sa 38. Yan. In the lap joint, okay, sa lap joint mo, the minimum, fillet niya, the minimum lap shall be 5 times the thickness of the thinner part joint. Ang imong lap, kinahanglan, di muubos sa ang pinaka-nipis, multiply ni mo times 5. Minimum ni mo na. Pwede ka mo subla. Kaya kung mo subla ka, the safer it is. But economical, the most economical is 5 times the pinaka-smallest thickness of the member. But not less than also 25 mm. Inayon design. Wala bang calculate, pag makapoy-kapoy, but not less than, pag calculate ni mo, less than 25 ang pod. So, dagkang kayo. Yan na, mag-memorize ka formula, but not less than. So, NSCP, kinala na mo NSCP, ha? Kinala na mo NSCP. So, dito niya makita, dito tanan mga top joining plates or bars subjected to axial stress shall be filleted, wheeled along the end of the both lap parts, except when the deflection of the lap part is sufficiently restrained to prevent opening the joint under maximum loading. Restraint. Alay movement. Okay, so the fillet welds in holes or slots are permitted to transmit shear in lap joints or to prevent the buckling of separation in the latter parts and components of the build-up members. Such fillet welds will overlap subject to the provision of the code. So fillet welds in holes or slots are not to be considered plug or slot welds. So size or end fillet welds. Daghan ko ng istorya class, but some of the istorya diri class, anang mga pang-istorya diri, those are parameters. Parameters to siya sa design. You need to cross-check, verify mo, kadili siya ma-exceed ani. Ngayon, ana. Okay. Uy, basa, no? Whenever practicable, be returned continuously around this corner of the distance, not less than 2 times the nominal size of the wheel. This provision shall apply to the side of the top Philly welds, connecting brackets, beam sets, and similar connections on the plane about which bending moments are computed. Ana man to. Kata kung gipakita ninyo na siya dito nga kasunod siya na formula and how it is being analyzed, shear and bending moments in welded connections. Anyway, maabot at dito. Okay, capacity of equal leg Philly welds. So kung pangutana na gani capacity of equal leg Philly welds, ang capacity niya is equals to FB. What does FB? Saan ng FB? Shear stress. Shear stress. Ang V gani, shear man na. 0.707 times W times F. So, saan man ang W class? Air. Okay? W is the size of the weld. Okay, the leg. Okay? And FB or the FB is equals the allowable shear stress can be calculated as 0.3 of FU. Okay. Kung sa ganitong FU class, on our previous, kung sa man ng FU, FY, FU, ultimate strength. Okay. Ultimate stress. Okay. So allowable working strength of equal leg Philly welds. So naapunta. So size of welds, mo na yung mga welds nimo in inches and in millimeter. So ang allowable load nimo ay in kilonewton per meter. So we discussed this one. This is denote. This E stands for the electrode. 60 stands for the tensile strength, tensile stress of the electrode. So FU, you have tensile stress is equal to FU 60 KSI, FU is 415, FB is 0.3, FU and FB 124 MPa. Okay. So sa E16 is kung E70 ang imuhang kuan FU nimo ultimate strength nimo actually is equals to 70 KSI or 485. Nya ang imong equivalent FB nimo ana is 0.3 of FU. If you calculate 0.3 of FU, 0.3 of 485, 145. Ako ba? Is it correct? 0.3 of 485. 145 actually. 145.5. Okay, so kung A80, so electrode 80 siya, 80 KSI or 550 MPa, ang FB nimo is 165. So equal leg ni siya class, okay? Philly welds. Okay. Then we have groove welds. So groove welds are used to connect structural members that are aligned in the same plane. So the same definitions as discussed previously nga ang groove welds. The same. Dili siya overlap. The same plane na imo i-connect. Okay. If the groove weld is transmitted to the full load of the member they join, the weld should have the same strength as the pieces joined. Strength. Okay. Such the groove weld is known as the complete penetration groove weld. When joints are designed so that the groove welds will extend completely through the thickness of the pieces joined, they are called partial penetration groove weld. So here, makita nimo ang types of groove weld. So you have a square groove weld. So you have the second one single V, double V, single bevel, double bevel, and single U. So more or less ang application niya may kang D, B, square pare-parehas ra pod siya Philly weld. Kita mo V pod siya, double V, end to end. Okay. So effective area of groove welds. So the effective area of groove welds shall be based on the following. So the effective area of groove welds shall be considered as the effective length of the wire weld, the weld time time the effective through thickness. Times the effective through, times nimo tong effective through thickness. So, then the effective length of the groove weld shall be the width of the part joint. So the effective length of the groove welds shall be the width of the part joint. So kung pila ang width sa imong gi-joint, mao na siya ang effective length of the groove weld. Ano mo? Pareho sila siya. Katong imong gi-joint pod, so pila mao ra pod siya imong groove weld. The effective through thickness of the complete penetration groove weld shall be the thickness of the thinner part joint. Always. And sige lang yung consider nimo ang thickness sa pinakanipis. Okay. The effective through thickness of the partial penetration groove. Kani. Kung partial siya, di siya fully penetrated, the groove weld shall be shown in table 3.5. So, add na po tag table. So, and also the effective thickness of the partial penetration groove weld shall be shown in table. Okay. Parehas naman eh. Table. Thickness siya, effective thickness. Katong una, true thickness. So the effective true thickness of the flare groove welds when flush to the surface of the bar or 90 degrees bend in the form section shall be shown in the table 3.6. Random section. So kani mga table class or need to be inyo ron basa-basahon. So the larger effective true thickness, those in 3.6 are permitted, provided the fabricator can establish the quality agent that has the consistency provided such larger effective true thickness. Fabrication shall consist of the sectioning of the weld normal to its axis and length of the terminal ends. Okay, let's go to the table. So, ano siya? Effective true thickness of the partial penetration groove weld. So, partial penetration meaning partial din siya fully penetrated. So, from the two sections that you want to join, or two materials, or two steel materials that you want to join. So, kung shielded metal arc submerged, shielded metal arc or SMAR, or SMAW or submerged arc, SAW, ang welding position, tanan nga welding position, ang imong included angle or root of the groove, G or U joint. Okay. Ang gas metal arc, tanan siya sa welding position. Ang included angle of root groove, so effective root thickness, depth of the chamfer. So, asa na chamfer class? What do you mean by chamfer? Chamfer ka nung mag-chamfer? Kanang mag-cut ka. Kung unsay gilalmon ana D or manimog V. O unsay gilalmon niya chamfer we usually not here, not here, we are not using columns. Here makita na to in the standard outside the country. Usually ang column na adyo na chamfer 20 mm by 25 mm na. So what's the kinahanglan nga dili kanang column ni mga square column, di na siya sa corner ana niya, dili gina siya kanang ait pero nag 25 mm by 25 mm. Okay. So kanang chamfer here is chamfer katong cut portion going to weld. So ang depth ana niya, the effective root thickness is the depth of the chamfer. Okay. So mao man na kung makita nimo, V-shape siya. V-shape. So, ang iyahang katong V-shape, i-project mo to say depth of the chamfer. Okay. Then we have the gas metallic arc sa bibil or V-joint less than or equal to 60 degrees. Depth of the chamfer ako ng effective root thickness. Flux cord arc. So, these are the welding process. Upat man to siya. SMAW, the SAW, GMAW, and FCAW. Okay. The depth of the chamfer minus 3 mm. So, minus na panibog 3. Tape 3.6 effective true thickness of the flare groove welds. So, okay. Naka ni mga table. Use 3/8 R for gas metal arc welding. Except short circuiting transfer process when R is greater than or equal to 12 mm. Matay. Dagang kayong parang. Okay. Limitations of groove welds. The minimum effective true thickness of the partial penetration groove welds shall be as shown in table 3.7. So, mo ni limitation. So, the minimum effective through thickness is determined by the thicker of the two-part joints, except that the wheel size need not exceed the thickness of the thinnest part joint. Kinahanglan. Okay, for this, the exception, particular care shall be taken to provide, kinahanglan kung manipis na gid kayo, so careful ang execution. Mora man na to preheat of the soundness of the wheel. Bang, yun na kanipis man dyan. So, if minimum effective through thickness of the partial penetration groove welds, makita nimo dire 6 mm inclusive, kinahanglan ang imong effective through thickness. Through thickness nimo, thickness sa welding nimo, 3 mm raka over 6, 5 mm. Okay. Wala pa gani over 150 o 16 mm. Through thickness na sa welding mo. Okay, plug and slot wheels. Then the principal use of plug or slot wheels is to transmit shear in the lap joints when the size of the connection limits of the length available for filler or other edge wheels. Slot and plug wheels are also useful in preventing overlapping parts from buckling. So, slots. Kita mo katong bangag nga mga ning sayop ta patong. Slotted bolts. Dako siya pataas iyang bangag, pwede mo dagan ra ang bolt. Ano siya, slot weld. Slot ko din siya nga weld, ipadagan na siya diya. Kini nga weld, okay? If you cut that one in section AA, makita nimo na kay welding diri. At this portion. Okay. So, slot and plug wheels are also useful in preventing overlapping parts from buckling. So kini makita ninyo plug wheel. So, circle na. Pero kung tanawin mo sa cross section, pag cut nimo parehos ra siya, di ba? So, kani pataas man siya. When you cut, parehos ra siya section at AA. But this is actually when you have the plan view in circle, kari pataas siya. Okay, that is a slot plug wheel. Okay, so you have combination Philly wheels. Slots, this is slot wheels, kaning upat kabok. Ang Philly wheels, tuyok na siya, Philly wheels. Dira. Okay, so una siya. Then here, combination of plug and Philly wheels. So plug, 4 kabok plug wheels. And then you have ang bangag imoragi patapta ng bangag. And then you have also Philly wheels. Philly wheels, is a big factor na siya in the strength. Okay, effective area. The effective sharing of the plug and slot wheels. Okay, plug and slot wheels shall be considered as the nominal cross-sectional area of the hole or slot in the plane of the raying face. So, ang katong cross-sectional area niya of the slot or the plug. Limitations of plug and slot wheels. Ada ka limitation. Limitation groove wheel, limitations of Philly wheel, limitations of plug and slot wheels. Plug or slot wheels are permitted to transmit shear in lap joints or to prevent buckling or lap parts and to join components parts build up members. So the diameter of the hole of the plug wheels will not, kinahanglan ang diameter of the hole for plug wheels shall not be less than the thickness of the part containing it, plus 8 rounded to the next larger odd 1.6 millimeter, nor greater than the minimum diameter plus 3 millimeter or 2.5 times the thickness of the weld. Ikaw mamatay na guidelines. How the author or how this the design team of this National Structural Code magamakag sa diameter sa hole for the plug weld, which is ibutangan nimo gipas ka nimo nang naibangag. Okay, shall not be less than the thickness of the part containing it. Less than the thickness of the part containing it. Plus na nimo 8 millimeter. Okay, rounded to the next larger odd 1.6 millimeter, nor greater than So the greater than minimum diameter plus 3 millimeter or 2 and 4 times the thickness of the weld. Diba makamatay? Anyway, we will appreciate during the example. The minimum center to center spacing of the plug welds. So plug weld. Naapod siya minimum center to center spacing. Kinalan di ka mo duol ana. Shall be 4 the diameter of the hole. Okay. So, kung pin diameter sa imong bangag, nga imong butang plug weld, mo weld ka pud diya, kinahanglan ang center to center distance of plug welds should not be less than 4 times the diameter of hole. Ay nako, so saan ni mo? Kung mag-exam yan sa una, saan na mo kuanan? Daghan naman yung parameters. Okay. Tapoy kayo. So, the minimum spacing of lines or slot welds. O tingali napula na last, I think last semester, nag-discuss ang maestro. So, last semester, I think, sa all the students who enrolled this steel design, wala pa sihi, pasarta na. Ikapoy na tingali discuss. Actually, design, daghan manggod kayo. Daghan kay kuan. Mga parameters, not just one formula. Nila, napagay yung mga parameters na kinahanglan masatisfy ka dito. So, shall be 4 times the diameter of the hole. Minimum spacing of the lines of the wheel, slot wheels in the direction transverse. So, the minimum, ang spacing of the lines of slot wheels transverse to the length shall be 4 times the width of the slot. Kung pila width sa slot, 4 times ang imong directional, ang imong spacing, the lines. So, from this, kung muna yung usang slot, napagay-usang slot dire, ang imong spacing shall be 4 times with the width of the slot. Kung pila gitason sa slot, ilang times 4 nimo, mo po na siya spacing between the slots. Okay, so the minimum center to center slot spacing along with the direction of any line shall be 2 times the length of the slot. Now, put sa minimum. Kasi minimum nga times the length of the slot. So, kung pila length atong imong slot, naman itong slot. Pila length, niya, times 2 ni mo po na siya minimum. Okay. Kaubog. Okay, the length of the slot for a slot shall not exceed. Na siya minimum, di po siya ma-exceed to 10 times the thickness of the weld. Mag-matter po ang thickness sa weld. Init naman gani diri. Okay. So, the thickness, the length of the slot for a slot weld shall not exceed 10 times the thickness of the weld. The width of the slot shall not be less than the thickness of the part containing 8 millimeter, nor shall be larger than 2 1/4 of the thickness of the weld. The ends of the slot shall be semicircular or shall. Nakita niyo sa figure, semicircle man dito sa ends sa slot. Dili na siya mo-square, semicircle na siya, ha? Or shall have the corners rounded. Dili siya sharp. May mo man siyang square or rectangular end. So the radius not less than the thickness of the part containing it, except those ends which extend to the edge of a part. The thickness of the plug or slots is in material 16 mm or less in thickness equal to the thickness of the material. Kung 16 mm, kung siya, okay? Kung ang material niya 16 mm, ang thickness sa plug or slot should be equal to that. Okay? Shall be equal to the thickness of the material. Should be equal to 16 mm also. Or kung lesser ana ang thickness should be equal to that, to the thickness of the material. Okay. So in the material over 16 mm thickness, the thickness of the weld shall be at least 1/2 of the thickness of the material but not less than 16 mm. So see? So kung greater than 16 mm, ang imong thickness sa plug or slot, kinahanglan 1/2 of the thickness. Pero kinahanglan po siyang dili ubos sa 16 millimeter. Kapoy ba na maguna-una, di ba? Combinations of welds. So if two or more of the general types of weld, groove, fillet, or plug, or slot are combined in a single joint. So gigamitan tanan. Fillet, mo plug, mo groove, mo slot. The effective capacity of each shall be separately computed with a reference to the axis of the group in order to determine the allowable capacity of the combinations. Okay. One minute. One minute class. Okay. So, weld notch toughness is specified in the consumables for all weld metal, tack wheels, rulers, and the subsequent passes. This deposited in the joint shall be compatible to assure notch so tough compared weld metal. Okay, so welded symbol. So, ako nag-enlarge actually class because this is also important. I blow up in the next page. So, muna siya basic symbols. So, na kay makita kaning box siya, K, inani na yung result of the fillet weld. So, mga symbols siya. Muna makita ninyo sa drawing. So, inuna na mga purma. Matingala mo sa welding procedure, WP welding procedure specification. Ngayon na kakabalo. Ano na symbol U, ang square, V, bevel, okay, J, flare V, flare bevel, so backlink, spacer. So these are supplementary weld symbols. So muna makita nimo sa weld here. Then you have the standard location of the element of the welding symbol. So basa-basahan ninyo class, ha? Okay. Then you have the notes. Naputoy notes at the bottom portion. So ako na to siyang i-blow up. And then I want you to read that one. So we have also common uses of welding symbol. So here, makita ninyo na drawing kaning mga Philly weld, so number of indicating leg and millimeter. So makita nimo ang leg niya kung pila ang iyang gitaas on, shown only 6 indicating leg. So in millimeter, show only 1 weld when both sides are the same. So in millimeter, butang nga 6. So ingon na nahitabo sa unas. So when we have the project, so galisod ko really. So ni-graduate ko civil, pero ang welding is not really dili man kayo kuan good. It's not really dili kay atong focus. So on gamay ra kay na siya nga topic. So pag abot didto sa actual field, sura difficult to understand. Anang in the actual na unsa akong banin lisod makaning welding. Lisod kayo. So in the drawing, so dili pa gud ka familiar sa drawing. So lisod kayo kinahanglan man na og welding engineer. Welding engineer sila may expert. Wala course ng engineer, but they are called welding engineer because they are certified. Certified sila welding practitioners. Okay. Common use, mga welding symbols. These are welding symbols also. Then balancing the wheels and a tension member connection. Balanced weld group. In some cases, members subjected to the direct stresses are themselves unsymmetrical and causes eccentricities. Muna siya na eccentricity, kaya di naman siya motor due to the turn of the forces na siya equivalent moment arm or leg distance. So muna siya na eccentricities. Asymmetry causes eccentricities in the weld connection. Such is the case of the angle section welded to a gasket plate as shown in the figure. Kita ninyo, it will cause eccentricity because of the corresponding leg distance. So makita nimo ang P1 na siya distance to the center line or to the center of gravity. Distance y. Ang P2 nimo na siya corresponding distance to the center of gravity y2. Ang P3 you have a corresponding distance from the location of the force going to the centroid, the center of gravity y3. So if you are going to analyze this one, you will get the formula to solve for the total load is equals to what? P is equals to P1, P2 plus P3. Of course, right? Class? And to solve for the, okay. So balancing the wheels and tension member connections. So let's have based on that figure, to avoid any eccentricity. Para maka-avoid centricity, the following equations must be satisfied through the application of static equations for static equilibrium. Summation of forces horizontal. P is equals to P1, P2 plus P3. Okay, based on that figure. Okay? So, makita mo niyo sa figure, ang P is equals, summation of forces horizontal, P is equals to P1 plus P2 plus P3. Okay. Parang wala eccentricity, kinalan ma-satisfied din ang mga equation. Then you have, that is our equation 3.5. Summation of moment to the center of gravity should be equal to 0. Thus, you will get a relationship P1 times Y1 plus P3 times Y3 minus P2 times Y2 equal to 0. Or P1 Y1 plus P3 Y3 is equals to P2 Y2. Let's go back on the figure. Nanong P1 plus Y1 plus P3 Y3 equals P2 Y2. So makita man nato, ang P2 is you sum up at the center of gravity. So ang P2 is opposite, clockwise in direction. Tumunang P1 corresponding moment arm Y1 times Y1. Okay. P3 same man siya, clockwise in counterclockwise in direction. Ang P1 of P3. Munang P3 times corresponding moment arm Y3 minus P2. Clockwise man siya direction. P2 times Y2. mutong natay equation nga P1y1 plus P3y3 plus P2y2. It was being derived from that figure. Okay, so where ang P1 plus P2 plus P3 are capacities of each weld. Okay? Capacities of each weld. If all these welds are equal in leg. So, equal in leg kuno. Pareho siya leg. Equal, kasabot naman tato kung equal leg. Ang equal leg gani, iyahang opposite and adjacent is equal. 90 degrees equal siya. Mo-form to siya. Drop kag theoretical line not based on the actual line. Ang katong endpoint o ang beginning point imo i-project pag ang point of intersection ato niya is the root niya. Ang imong consideration sa in terms of leg kung equal siya ang yang base yang opposite. Okay, so have the same size, the following equations may be used. So kung kuha leg, pwede ka mo gamit ani in the calculation of P. Given gani sa problem nga equal leg siya, gamit ang 0.707 the weld leg, okay, times the length times the shearing stress. Okay, so where ang L nimo is the total length of the weld. L1, L2, L3 plus L4. Okay. Okay, and you have the relationship also. Kung kuha niya class kung equal leg you can have this relationship. L1 times Y1 plus L2 times Y plus L3 Y3 is equals to L2 Y2. Okay, and that is another equation. So we have eccentrically loaded kung na eccentricity class. So this is the analysis. So eccentrically loaded welded connections. Na kuno kay tulo ka welded weld points. So L1, L2, L3. Okay, makita niyo L1, L2, L3. Then na kay mga applied force here na po kay P here. So based on this figure, ang imuhang force, na kay force here, na siya eccentricity with respect to what? With respect to X and Y axis. So, nikuha ka iyahang corresponding component forces. You have Fy and Fx. So, kini. And then you here, this force, Ex, and also force, the force also here at point A, PTY, PDY, and also PDX. Nasa corresponding distance to the YA and with respect to X axis and with respect to Y axis. Okay. So always ang reference point nimo is the Cartesian plane, X and Y axis. So based on this, you can get a relationship. So, kato nga figure, same as the previous figure, you get the relationship with the drawing. Nga ang PDX, okay, PDX is equals to the summation of force horizontal na, PDX is equals to the force X, component of the force X, all over the length. So, inana ang formula. And then, you have also, ang imong Y, same, Fy pod siya, all over the length. Length gani nimo total length of weld. Tulo man to siya, L1, L2, L3. So meaning ang length nimo L1 plus L2 plus L3. Okay. So summation of length mo na L nimo. Okay, so the load due to the moment, how you're going to solve? P, mo na siya load due to the moment is equals to Fx. Muturn to siya to the what? To the axis. So makita nimo EY, ang Fx niya, na siya moment arm nga EY. So, X man to siya. Iyang perpendicular. Ang iyang corresponding moment arm. So, kung X niya, ang distance niya EY. Ang imong Fy nimo, corresponding distance EX. So, sa figure itself, makita lang ninyo class how it was being derived. Kung yun sa pagkuha itong mga formula. Really, actually. So, based on the figure. So, makita ninyo, ang load due to moment, which is represented as T is equals to Fx times Ey plus Fy Ex. And then, PTx is equals to, you can solve, PTx is equals to Ty nimo all over J. So, unsa man ang J? Unsa man tong J sa una, polar moment of inertia? So, we have Tty nimo, Tx po siya, all over J. So, muna mga equations where J is equals to, classic formula, summation of length times L squared all over 12 plus xg squared plus yg squared. Ano man ang xg? Muna katong centroid, location of the centroid, okay, at x, and yg location of centroid with respect at y. Squared nimo, munay j nimo. Nara pag-compute. And that is equation 3.16. Oh. Total load per, this is actually the last topic. Last topic naman class, we will complete and example will be next meeting. Unya next meeting na da kay kapoy kay masakit po gani akong bagbasa-basa aning code mga parameters, istorya. Okay, an example we will be having next meeting. So next meeting will be Thursday, example ta. So next week exam ta. So total load per millimeter length of weld. So total load is equals to the square root of FDX plus FTX squared plus FDY plus FTY squared. Muna total load nimo. Then connections with shear and bending stresses. Muna siya figure below shows the illustrate welded connection that must support both direct shear and bending moment. So muna siya kung giingon ninyo class, nanay eccentricity and napog kay Philly weld here, and this is actually welded connection and combined shear and bending. Okay, shear because of these two numbers. Okay, so the nominal shear stress is FB is equals to P all over length total. So, mo na siya yung class ang ginagamit nato kay sa mga problem usually ingon ani. This is under connections with shear and bending stress. Ano siya 14, take note. Bilangan nimo 4.14. Makita ninyo. And this is the calculations. Nominal shear stress FB is equals to P or all over length total. The nominal bending stress, mangita siya bending. Shearing stress na inana ra pag-compute T all over L, total length of weld. And the nominal bending stress is FB, okay, is equals to MC over I. If you remember this formula, moment times the centroid all over the moment of inertia, or equal to M over S. S is the section module, or equals to P times eccentricity all over the section modulus, or equals to, you can have this one. So either you can solve through this one, you can solve through this, or through this one. Value of S is given in table 3.8. Okay, napatay katong table 3.8. The resultant stress in Newton per millimeter is, so pila man ang resultant stress? So FB squared shear stress, nominal shear stress squared plus square root of the nominal shear stress, FB squared plus nominal bending stress squared. Mora. Ina na dayon. Pila man ang resultant stress? So this is the resultant stress. And that is equal to, okay, and that is the resultant can also be calculated as the shear stress times the, what's this? TE, where, okay, TE is the effective weld size. Weld size na siya, effective weld size, which is equal to 0.707 of the thickness for equal leg. Kung dili equal leg, effective size na siya, TE. Mention po na. FV is the capital letter FV is equals to the allowable shearing stress of the weld metal. Allowable. Okay. So, and this table class, ako lang po gihatag ninyo yung table. So, properties of weld group na nakay di na ka maglibog na naman kay section S actually, section modulus S. Kaya kung inani ang weld configuration, taas ang imong ang imuhang Y bar. Kita man nimo, distance nimo ana is actually Y bar is half of the depth. Okay. So, nakay section mo d squared over 6. Ang yung polar moment of inertia, J, d cube over 12. So, open man eh. Open notes naman mo ani. So, hindi na mo magkuhan. And there is example how it is being calculated. So, gihana rin siya pag-calculate. For example, katong kani. So, giunsa ni siya pag-calculate ning actually ang iyang section modulus, d squared over cube. So, okay, muna siya nakuha d squared over cube. Actually, from ICS, section modulus ICX over C, derives siya d cube over 6 divided by d over 2, munang d squared over 3. And so this table is also provided, and ang inyo lang yun, when we have the example, familiarize and kinahanglan mo, kuan mo kanang mo explore pod mo. Do not depend only nga mga tagog example 1 2 3 tulo ka example, balik-balik solve ta akong example. Explore pod mo. Gamay research. Okay, and in a CP class, please, I really advise. It's not just useful for this subject. It is your Bible. It's our Bible. Ato nang Biblia nato na National Structural Code of the Philippines. So, kinahanglan na namoy kopya ana class. So, it's better nga gyud na mubukbayn gyud mo ana kay gamit man na ninyo, gamit man na nako, gamit na natong tanan as a civil practitioner. Okay class, so let's continue next meeting. Ikaput ug basa class actually, and this is really about design, kanang designing on ani gyud, and daghan kayong design parameters, so we can appreciate also this if we have an example, and then we will go through. Balikan na to. Kung natin example, maglibog ta, we will go back on the code. Code man na, natural code. Tanaw na to itong mga quantitative parameters. So in that way, we will master how it is being used in the design. Okay, class?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
So, class, pamot mo, class, ha? Next meeting na namoy kopya. Bisag soft copy, naka-download mo sa NSCP. Okay?
Sige, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank
sir.
you so much, and see you on Thursday, class. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.